Welcome back. A pilot countdown timer system has been installed at the traffic light crossing at the Linewall Road junction by City Hall. The new system follows on from many similar schemes around the world and should make the crossing safer.
It's one of the busiest pedestrian crossings and therefore the most suitable for this pilot scheme, which forms part of the Integrated Traffic and Transport Plan. The new system aims to improve the crossing by eliminating the flashing amber light sequence for vehicles and therefore provide safer passage for pedestrians.
Well, this is what we call a pedestrian countdown timer, and these are seen throughout many places throughout Europe and also throughout the world. And what it does is it makes pedestrian crossing a lot safer for the pedestrian. It also eliminates a lot of the confusion that drivers have when the flashing amber starts and at the same time the flashing green pedestrian sign is on. So what has happened at this moment in time, that this countdown timer will start counting down the moment that there's 12 seconds remaining to cross. And so the person who is crossing takes a decision on whether they have enough time within that specified given time period or whether they need to wait for the next cycle. So this is especially important in people with disabilities or people that have trouble crossing for whatever reason. This is a vast benefit. This is also has been changed at this very moment of setting the system up. It has become a toucan crossing. So what happens is, if you remember the way it used to work before, I said the pedestrian is seeing a flashing green man and that pedestrian perceives it as time to cross. So people are crossing, but at the same time that pedestrian green man is flashing, you have the flashing amber for vehicles to proceed as well. So there's a confusion between driver and pedestrian. So what this does, it eliminates the confusion whatsoever. So if you look at this, how it works, it's not until the man goes red that the light will go green. So that makes it extremely safe.
This countdown timer is the first of its kind installed in Gibraltar. It's only a pilot scheme, but depending on its success, others may follow suit. And will these traffic lights, this new system, will it be introduced in other areas in Gibraltar?
Well, at the moment, this is our pilot scheme. This is our first one in Gibraltar. We're going to see how it works. We see how people respond to them. I think straight out that people are going to respond to them extremely well. I mean, I don't think there's anything. They're very, very good the way they work.
So it's also one of the busiest crossings in Gibraltar.
This is why we chose this location. It is one of the busiest crossings, especially with the temporary coach park in the location that it is at the moment. So if this works well, then we were looking at procuring extra units for other parts of Gibraltar.
The GFA's new vice president believes the game is moving in the right direction, but says its future development will require collaboration with the clubs and careful management. Paul Lyon was elected by the Football Association's membership last week at an EGM, having stood unopposed.
The local head teacher, who's due to retire in a few months, hopes to improve the product locally and believes the focus needs to be on developing the game further and creating the right attitude.
The game is probably at a watershed at the moment. I think it's moving in the right direction. How quickly the game moves will depend on people like Michael, Dennis, myself and everybody who's trying to manage the game, working in conjunction with the clubs, looking at development. On a practical level, our current national team are unfortunately never going to probably reap the benefits of any development work, but if we start to work with our very young children in our schools, develop their game, develop a positive attitude towards the game, then I am confident within the next decade Gibraltar will have made some great strides forward.
In the short term, the GFA will be focusing on its next international fixture, as the national squad prepares for its Euro qualifier facing Scotland away at Hampden Park on the 29th of March.
Around 400 patients have managed to kick the habit since the no smoking clinic was introduced by the GHA in 2012. Smokers were this week encouraged to quit with a public campaign as part of No Smoking Day. A stand in Main Street aimed to raise awareness of the dangers of smoking and its health impacts, with the support available locally also highlighted.
The 2015 campaign runs under the heading Proud to be a Quitter, focusing on the achievements of former smokers and their motivations for giving up. The day is seen as an opportunity to inform people on the choices available should they want to give up smoking, with almost 800 patients benefiting from the GHA's No Smoking Clinic since it started in 2012.
The success rate is about 50%. And obviously with any sort of help with addiction, there will be people that will take it fully on board and have the willpower to stop, and other people that struggle. But obviously we are here to support them.
Smoking has been very popular here, and there is a great degree of smoking in Spain around. People in Spain smoke a lot as well, so I think there's generally the culture here has been quite high in smoking. And obviously the cost of tobacco doesn't help. It's very cheap to buy cigarettes in Gibraltar as compared to other places in Europe. But I think that overall the general public is now looking at health messages and the positive health messages we give out globally, and people are more aware of being healthy and adopting a healthy lifestyle. So I think the younger population is more geared towards fitness and healthy eating, healthy exercising, and having a healthy lifestyle. So I think that's a positive change, and we're hoping to see a positive result in the new lifestyle survey that we have operational at the moment.
The Royal Navy's newest warship called into Gibraltar this week on her maiden deployment to top up on fuel and supplies. HMS Duncan was commissioned in 2013 and boasts a sophisticated missile system. Following engineering work and successful operational training, the ship's crew says it's ready to play a key role out at sea.
The Type 45 destroyer, based in Portsmouth, is set to spend 9 months in the Mediterranean, Middle East and the Gulf, working with allies to protect shipping and wider British interests in the region. Described as the world's most advanced air defence warship, HMS Duncan is ready to undertake a variety of missions.
The last two Type 45s to come into the Mediterranean and then carry on east of Suez have both been supporting United States Navy aircraft carriers who have been conducting strikes against ISIS in Iraq and Syria. We may be asked to do that, or we may perhaps be asked to do a non-combatant evacuation operation, which is what we saw of the initial stages of Libya in 2011 when HMS Cumberland went alongside, or indeed in 2007 off the Lebanon. We might be asked to extract civilians from the conflict zone and take them to a place of safety. Equally, we might be asked to do disaster relief operations, so we'd be able to take food, water and other sort of emergency supplies ashore, as we saw in the Philippines a little over 2 years ago.
Church has to be where people are at, and not just in a church building. And I believe that our men and women in the armed forces are just as deserving of the attentions of priests and ministers and the church essentially as anybody else. Perhaps you could argue even more so, given the nature of the job and the fact that they're putting their lives on the line potentially. We have to be an outward-looking church, and people sometimes ask me whether there's a conflict between being a priest and being a member of the armed forces. Nobody should ever want to go to war. That is always the last resort. But should the worst happen and called upon to engage in fighting, I've got to be there to support our men and women. They're just as deserving of that support of the church as anybody else.
HMS Duncan's visit also coincided with Commonwealth Day, with the ship dressing for the occasion.
Dolphins are a common sight in the Bay of Gibraltar, but this week saw a rare visit from their bigger cousins, killer whales. For over 40 years, dolphins have been scarce during this time of year, and the orca's appearance could explain why they move away from the bay for a couple of months.
During March and April, dolphins become scarce in numbers. This is called no-do season, where customers at both the Dolphin Safari and Dolphin Adventure leave disappointed. But yesterday's customers had a surprise that certainly left them smiling. A pod of around 6 to 10 orcas spent several hours in the bay. According to Dolphin Safari, the orcas appear to be socializing, swimming slowly and gracefully, in what could even be described as a dance. Killer whales are regular visitors to the strait, especially at this time of year, where large numbers of bluefin tuna migrate to the Mediterranean to reproduce. The orcas are known for feeding on tuna, but there's a chance they would bite and eat small dolphins, which could explain why they move away from this area during this time of year. However, the orcas rarely enter the bay. The last time they were spotted was 3 years ago. This rare occurrence proved to be quite the sight, enjoyed by the lucky few who got to see them in time.
A local man celebrated his 100th birthday this week, surrounded by friends and family. Former teacher John Shakaluga has been married to his wife Maribel for 65 years. He's father to 7 children, grandfather to 16, and great-grandfather to 8. Chief Minister Fabian Picardo presented Mr. Shakaluga with a card from the Queen. He was also presented with a letter from the Vatican and mementos from St. Mary's University, where he trained as a teacher. Cristina Cortés asked Mr. Shakaluga how he felt on his 100th birthday.
Well, none better. A great honor, and I thank God for having reached my age and good health, and to have all of you here to honor me. I have no words to thank you all enough. May we meet again, please God, next year.
And can you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your life?
Well, I had a very good boyhood. I lived for 11 years in New Street with many, many friends. And then I grew up into adulthood, none better, for which I thank God very much indeed. And may this year be repeated with God next year also. And for all of you to be here again to celebrate my next birthday. Yeah.
And finally, what's your secret to a long and happy life?
Many people have asked me, what is your secret? What is the mystery? What is the recipe? I said, none. A very happy marriage and a very happy family. None better, for which I thank God.
And that's all for News Review. For more, you can head over to our website, gbc.gi/news. You can also find us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you very much for watching. From the team, good night.